Good evening, everyone. I'm going to say thank you for joining us for the presentation. Typically, I like to do this in school, but we don't know the size of the crowds and different things like that, and there's different things going on around RCSA's campus tonight. So presenting on a Teams presentation is the best we can possibly do. It is being recorded, so I will post it to the GCIT page sometime tomorrow or Friday, whenever we can get to it. It's a big time for our junior class, right? We don't know what's happening for next year. The kids are going to be excited. They're doing things at the college, they're doing things at GCIT. They got their shop still to do. They can go out to school to work. So there's a lot of different options that I just wanted to present to you, families, if we could, before all the counselors go out and do their course presentations and course selections with all the different classes. I think we should be doing that in the next week or so. So just anticipate getting an email from all of us guidance counselors in regards to course selection for the following year. Junior year is a little bit different just because there's so many different options that are out there in regards to college level classes over at the new AMAS building. What are our options? How many classes do kids have to be taking for the first semester, second semester? So there's a lot of different options that are out there. I have my phone up in case somebody has messages or questions on Teams. I can help you guys out. If you guys have my email, I sent it out earlier today. Reach out, right? I'm always available. The kids stop down. It's going to start getting busy with the kids and things over the next week or so. But like I said, I'm always available. I try to answer emails and Teams messages as quickly as I possibly can. I'm going to present as much possibly information as I possibly can. It may not answer everything that you guys have, right? So I'll do the best that I possibly could, and we'll keep going. If you guys have questions, like I said, ask away, send them on Teams, send them via the chat, and we'll go from there. All right. So Collegiate High School, what is it? It was established about, let's call it 10 years ago. What it was in my mind was to get the kids used to a collegiate high school setting, right? To be able to go over to the college, take some classes so that when they go to college, they are used to that college world, right? No power school. How do I figure out my grades? All the different terms when we get to drop a class, when we get to withdraw from a class, different things like that. It turned into a little bit more, right? Where we got more and more kids taking college classes starting their freshman year all the way through senior year. Some kids are getting associate's degrees, right? So it's morphed into a little bit bigger deal. They use our school at the RCSJ as like as a program that they present to the rest of the schools in South Jersey. So what we established 10 years ago and what we have done, they presented it to all the schools in South Jersey and they all bought in. So we are the first school that started it, and we just keep continuing. We keep building. We have new programs at GCIT that keep building. So our school at GCIT keeps getting bigger, and then all these programs just keep getting bigger as we keep going on. So first slide, what is Collegiate High School? What it really is the senior year option. It gives our seniors the flexibility to take classes either all at GCIT, all at RCSJ, or a combination of both, right? And that's what it really is. It's difficult sometimes if we, trying to build two schedules, trying to build a GCIT schedule and an RCSJ schedule. Sometimes it's difficult just because the times don't match up, right, between the two campuses. So it gets a little bit more difficult sometimes, but that's why I sit down with as many kids one-on-one as I possibly can when it comes to a lot of these classes, right? A lot of the kids will be at GCIT in theory the first semester, and second semester at RCSJ. We'll have a combination depending on what they want out of this next year. They can have a combination of, taking RCSJ classes online, GCIT classes in person, and different things like that. And we'll get into that a little bit more. And like I said, it is very individualized per kid, per family. What is required for students during senior year? In theory, a lot of the kids, if they're in a shop, they might still have shop class. A lot of kids are just going to have English and gym, which we know if they are present in school, they need English 4 or one type of English 4, and they need a gym, okay? Some kids still need the art, and some kids need a financial literacy class. So it all depends on what the kids have taken over the last 3 years, what are required for them for senior year. All right. That first semester, kids need 4 hours of instruction to be considered a full-time student at GCIT. What that means to me is 4 classes, right? If they have a shop, that shop counts as 2 classes. So it would be their shop plus 2. So it could be shop, English, and gym, right? It can be, we have kids do English, gym, and then 2 other classes. Those classes can all be online, right? So it really just depends on that student, what they still have required to take, and then if they're still in shop. Second semester gets a little bit less, right? Second semester is just 2 hours of instruction. So if a kid has shop, if a kid has a culinary class, that culinary counts as their 2 hours of instruction. Okay. So as long as we have 2 hours of instruction, 2 classes, no matter how they're being taught, the kids are still legal and still good to go. Okay. We have a lot of students that go out to school to work. So if they are in, in any of the shops in construction, a lot of kids go out in school to work their senior year where they do a lot of other things online and they work with the school to work office and their counselor, right? So it's this next year and this next couple months is going to be working with our counselors on a one-on-one basis and seeing if we can do it. Can you guys see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
just making sure. I just got an question.
do.
I'm sure we've seen the PowerPoint. Okay, cool.
I'm not seeing it.
No, I have it posted up and presented for.
Yeah, we're
On the
looking at
page.
it
Let
on
me
there,
see
but if
something.
you're sharing your screen, I'm not seeing it.
No, it was just a presentation that on
Oh.
Teams on
I
PowerPoint
have it.
says I could present it into Teams. Let me see. Everybody should be able to see it.
Hello? Hi.
Let me just go present to the next slide and we'll see what we can do.
I don't know.
All right.
I'm at
Senior
home.
year
I'm in
courses.
a virtual thing.
All right. Senior year courses. There's a ton of courses out there. We are presenting a new course catalog. That's what we're waiting for, right? There's a new course catalog that needs to get approved per the board. It should be approved up in the next couple of weeks, and that's what we're sort of waiting for to come out and present to the kids. That way they have the options of knowing what all these classes are available. Okay. Englishes. Let's talk about English. There are different options for Englishes. We have a normal CP and honors classes that they can take through GCIT, and we also teach a college level English that's taught through GCIT, right? Any college level classes that the kids take with a GCI teacher on our campuses, right? We have 2, we could almost think of it that we have 2 college campuses. We have our main building, and then we have the AMAS building. Even though it's on the RCSJ campus, it's still our building, okay? So we have different campuses, different buildings, but we teach those different levels of English classes. There's a new prerequisite to be able to get into the college level English. The kid has to have an 88 or higher, either in CP or in honors, and they have to pass a placement test. I use their NJGPAs, their scores, which are coming up in the next couple of weeks. I use their NJGPA scores to be able to put them in that English class. Gym. We have 2 different types of gyms. We have our normal Fitness for Life gym, which is at GCIT, in the pool, everything else that normally happened over the last 3 years. Or we have the college level gym, all right? College level gym is a 2-day-a-week class. It's taught with Mr. Pfeiffer, and they do a little bit different workouts. Their workouts for college level gym, I know a lot of the kids are going to ask. I think Mr. Pfeiffer is going to present a little bit here, not tonight, but when we do our course selections. College level gym, they split into groups. Each group presents a physical fitness activity, and then they present that physical fitness activity over the next 3 months, right? So they do a little presentation, and then they actually do a workout. And that's how they get their workouts through the semester. And then they have health. The health is more like senior health that we've all been through when we were in high school. And then he does a one-page paper, and he does something goofy that he makes the kids do. This past year, they did juggling. So they all had to learn how to juggle, and they did a one-page paper, right? If they knock all that stuff out, they pass with a college level gym. College level gym and college level English, they're 2 days a week. So they're not that for that full 5-day a week. Turn up your volume. The volume should be on your computers. I think my volume, I don't get to turn up as much as I can. I don't get to turn up my volume going out to you guys. All right. If a student needs financial literacy, they can take it in person or they can take it online. All right. A lot of the kids take it online. It's literally an 8-lesson course. that they just knock out on their own. They can do it in a weekend. They can do it over a week. All right. So that's their financial literacy. Art, they can take art through GCIT. There's a ton of art classes that'll be presented in the course catalog, or we have a lot of kids take it through RCSJ, right? So they can take a college level art at RCSJ. We do have college level oral communications that's taught at GCIT that counts as an art class. So there's a lot of different options for arts, and the art classes that we teach at GCIT, sometimes they are college level and sometimes they're not, but sometimes kids just want to knock it out, right, and be done with it. So there's a lot of those different things. We have all those career courses that kids have to take. It's either like the bakings, the culinaries, different things like that. All right. So there's a lot of different options that we'll go through, that the counselors will go through with each one of the students, depending on what program they're in. All right. So if I have kids that are like in biological sciences where there's not much stuff to do, a lot of it's spent doing electives or taking classes through RCSJ. All right. And like I said, it's individualized. Some of the information that's important to realize when a student is taking classes at GCIT, every class that a student takes through GCIT affects their rank and their GPA, right? So anything that they take will either increase or decrease their GPA. Classes that you guys pay for as a family that are taken through RCSJ only, they do not affect anything that happens with their GPA or class rank. Okay, so that's something that a lot of the kids have to watch out for if they're really concerned about their GPA and they want to get it up a lot higher. Take a lot more GCIT classes than taking anything through RCSJ. Okay, I know some of you are new to the college level world at GCIT. There's two different types of classes, right? There's something called dual credit classes. A dual credit class means it's on two different transcripts. That means it's on an RCSJ transcript and a GCIT transcript. So that means they're taking it through GCIT. All right. And that'll always appear on your RCSJ transcript. If you take a psychology class that you guys paid tuition for, all right, that psychology class is called a high school option programs, where you are literally just taking it through RCSJ. It just lives on an RCSJ transcript, has no effect on your GCIT anything. Okay. When you guys apply to colleges in the next 6 months, colleges only care about your GCIT stuff, right? They only care about your GCIT GPA, your GCIT rank, things like that. They don't even get to see your RCSJ courses until we send them over at a much later date. So when you guys are filling out applications for colleges, we have a lot of kids that might be getting an associate's degree over the next year. They get a little upset with me and they're like, well, they're not going to see it. I'm like, no, they don't. And in theory, these kids who are still taking college level classes, it's still a year out before you actually obtain your final college level classes. So when you apply to college, it just says, do you have any transfer credits? The box, they say yes. Everything else is based off of GCIT. Okay. So I always tell kids that they have to put the efforts into their GCIT classes, right? The notes on the right-hand side is a little bit of a stickler that I try my hardest to push over with these kids. These college level classes, this program is a privilege. Okay. We allow kids to go over to RCSJ and take classes. There's no attendance that we get to look at, right? There's no power school, so I can't track grades. There's none of that stuff. It's a privilege. Now, when that semester's over, I definitely can see grades, right? I've actually had to tell a couple kids this year, I'm not letting them take college level classes their second semester because how bad their GPA was at RCSJ. It can affect these kids later in the long run, and it can affect financial aid. It can affect different things like that, scholarships. It can affect, if your GPA is bad enough at RCSJ, it can affect your acceptances into, let's say you go to med school, PT school, different things like that. My son was at PT school now, and his college GPA, they wanted every transcript that my son took. So he had classes that he took in Australia, at RCSJ, and then at his 4-year school. So they wanted all those transcripts, and that can affect a decision later on down the line. So different things, right? So just make sure that no matter what class that we take, these kids are putting all the effort in. If they want their GPA and stuff at GCIT, the biggest thing is just take GCIT classes if you want, okay? And I will help out with the kids. I'll help out with all that stuff as we keep going. GCIT's Advanced Manufacturing Building. This is our new building, right? I say new. It's been there for 3 years now, right? I almost call it GCIT 2, right? There's a lot of college level classes that are over there in that building. I believe next year there might even be some junior level classes over there. So how would the kids get there? If they are seniors and they drive, they can just drive over there. Okay. That parking lot, they don't need a parking pass for. It's over there. It's protected just like a normal high school building is. There's security. They can't get in. They have to get buzzed in. So that building is protected just like a normal high school building. They have security. They have maintenance. There's a nurse over there. And then there's an administrator over there at all times. Okay. If a student does not drive, if they don't get a parking pass or whatever, we can give them a shuttle. There's a shuttle that runs all day long between the two buildings. And the shuttle actually runs over to RCSJ also. So it just keeps running continuously all day to get the kids back and forth between classes if they have classes at both campuses. Okay. Trying to think. Security, we talked about that. It's a great building, brand spanking new, right? There's 2 floors of classrooms. We've really only used it for our advanced manufacturing kids and our English and gym. So we're really using about 4 classes out of about 15. So I think the goal for GCIT is to actually send more classes over there if they could. It's just, we found this year it's been a nuisance depending on how big our shuttle was, how many kids are over there, how many kids we get back and forth. So it's a work in progress. They're supposed to be hiring another bus driver and getting more buses so that we're not going back and forth as many times as we possibly can. So we have kids on that shuttle all day long. Even if you drive to school and you want to take the shuttle instead of driving back and forth, take the shuttle. Okay. What else? RCSJ courses. All right. A lot of questions, and this comes up all the time, not just with our school, but with schools all over the place, right? The biggest question is if you guys are putting money out, $225, $300 per class, we want to know, are they going to transfer to the next program? Are they going to transfer to these schools? I don't want to put this money out and lose these classes. All right. Will they transfer? 99% of these classes are going to transfer to 95% of the schools that are out there. Okay. We know for a fact there's certain schools, certain programs that I will talk to the kids about and talk to you guys about. If you have questions, will they transfer? And I'll be totally honest with you. No, right? Rutgers, New Brunswick. Rutgers, New Brunswick is one of those funky schools that have not accepted any of our transfer classes. All right. Over the last month, the folks over at RCSJ, they've reached out to Rutgers, New Brunswick, and there should be a new agreement, a new handshake that there should be accepting more and more of our credits. So that's a big thing. I don't trust it yet until it's in paper and until it's actually, signed off on by both the presidents. So different things like that. Nursing schools, right? Kids come to me and go, hey, I want an associate's going to go to nursing school. There's nursing schools that are throughout the state and throughout the country that will accept a certain amount of credits. Same thing with everything else. Do our credits only transfer to Jersey? No. We have kids all over this country transferring credits into their programs. All right. A lot of it can be program specific. Business, the first 2 years of business school are pretty much the same no matter where you go. Okay. So a lot of those credits are going to transfer. A psychology degree, pretty much the same. When you start digging into stuff like engineering and some of the higher level degrees such as engineering, sometimes they're going to get picky. Some of those engineering schools want you to be there from freshman year all the way through. Okay. So the biggest thing to take away from this is, will they transfer? The answer should be yes. If we don't know, we'll do the research. All right. When you apply coming up this year, even though you may have anywhere between 30 and 60 credits, you will not apply as a transfer student. You're always going to apply as a first year freshman, no matter how many credits you have. A couple different reasons. In order to become a transfer student, you have to go to college first. You have to officially enroll in college. While we're in high school, they're not college students. They're still high school kids taking college level classes. The second biggest thing is the money, right? Scholarship money. When I look at first year student going in there, that bucket of money is huge. All right. When I go in as a transfer student, that bucket of money now becomes very small. So this year now, we have a lot of kids going to Rowan University because they're getting anywhere between $9,000 and $11,000, right? And it's a weird year because they're giving away a lot of money this year. It's the new partnership. I don't know. We'll see how the trend goes next year, right? If that student goes to RCSJ first and becomes a transfer student, that $11,000 is out the window. Now they're going to get transfer scholarships, which is probably about $3,000 to $4,000. right? So I hear a lot of kids and a lot of families, well, it's cheaper to go to RCSJ. It could be. It could actually be more expensive to go to RCSJ. Because if you spend 2 years at RCSJ, and let's say you get it for close to being free, but now those next 2 years at Rowan University are going to cost you anywhere between $12,000 and $13,000 a year because that scholarship money is different. So I always tell kids, and I'll tell your kids when I talk to them, apply to the big schools. Just apply and see what happens, right? The application, put them in. The big decision comes next year at this time when your kids have to decide where they want to go to school, right? And how much money the schools give me versus, RCSJ. RCSJ is always there, right? It's always sitting there. I can get kids in RCSJ 2 days before the semester starts. That's not the problem. The problem is finances, right? That's always, always, always the biggest thing, right? Schools can cost, right? You'll pretty soon when you guys start doing these applications and start looking at these schools, anywhere from our Jersey schools from $17,000 to, my son's school was $90,000 by the time he left. All right. So it's a big chunk of money when you can go somewhere local, get that same thing versus going somewhere else, right? Don't be afraid to put your dream schools in there. Apply. Okay. Costs at RCSJ right now, it's $75 per credit if I want to take a class that's taught at the college by a college professor. It could increase by about, I think they said by $10. So it should be anywhere between $200 and let's call it $50 to about $330 per class. All right. There's a new book fee and all that other stuff, but I can give you all of that information once you guys decide what you guys want to do. There is no financial aid. Financial aid's only available to kids once they graduate high school. Okay. Any college level classes that students take at GCIT are free. They're free to you. The high school actually pays. So I think the bill right now is like $250,000 a year that we're paying RCSJ to teach our own classes and everything else. So it's an absurd amount of money that we pay for your kids to get the college level classes at GCIT for free. Okay. And it should continue for the next couple of years. All right. So it's a lot cheaper. I think one of the next slides I'll show you. All right. So some college level classes that are at GCIT that a lot of kids are available for senior year. You can see that list, right? Some sciences, depending where you're at, TV, history, and film, a calc class, English, gym. They're adding some new classes into there that kids can have electives for. So once the new course catalog comes out, you'll be able to see more and more options. If somebody has never taken a class, there's other options for them. Like we have a college level history class, college level oral communications that it shows up there. So there are some options out there that if somebody has never taken a college level class, that they have the options for senior year to do. The next slide is going to show you 2 sample degree programs. Okay. So how do we know what classes to take, right? What class should my child take when they're going towards a certain degree? These are just 2 sample degree plans that are out there. All right. If I look on the left, business administration, a lot of the kids that are in our business and finance academy have taken a lot of those classes while they're at GCIT. Okay. So we just continue and start taking those classes. Biology. A lot of the kids that are going into med school, I sort of follow that biology track, but you can see the difference where the biology track, engineering track, anything in that STEM world, it's a little bit more difficult to knock some of those classes out than it is for a student who's in the business administration world. Okay. So I always get kids, can we get an associate's degree? Depends, right? It depends on how hard that track is. Where do I want to go to school? What's going on? Can I knock a lot of these classes out, over the summertime? Different things like that. So these are just the layouts that if a student comes to me and says, hey, Mr. Burns, I'm going to go to school for business, I pull up the business administration layout and we start following that track. All right. Whatever there's out there, and let's say RCSA doesn't teach what your student wants to go to school for, I pull up that track, I pull up that school, and we go find one. And we start looking at sample classes, right? A lot of kids want to take forensics. So I go into forensics and I start looking at that. A question, are these degree layouts available online? They are. If you go to rcsj.edu, under academics, you can see them all. A little bit harder to find, but you can go in there and start pulling them all off. If you guys request a copy, I'll email them to you or send them to you via Teams or whatever I need to do. Right? I pulled off a lot of I have them all saved. These are brand new ones because last year when the 2 campuses, Gloucester and Cumberland, the RCSJ campuses merged, they had to change everything. So they changed all the names of these classes. So I spent 13 years of memorizing all these classes, what degree had, and then all of a sudden they changed them all. So I'm learning all these new different course codes and different things that we need. Okay. But yes, I will get you guys, if you guys request a specific layout or specific degree plans, I'll send them off to you guys. Building a schedule. Power School. You guys are familiar with Power School in the last 3 years, right? Power School is this. We put the courses into Power School, whatever your student requests, we stick them into Power School. Power School spits them out. We don't know if they spit them out in the first semester, second semester, or a combination of both, right? So we have to work with each student over the summertime. Once the schedules become available, does it look right? And we start going in back and forth and we start looking at them all, okay? Class sizes and times, right? Sometimes 2 college level classes meet at the same time. Or this past year, we had a lot of kids want to take college level chemistry first semester. It maxed out, right? So we had to push a lot of kids to that second semester. Same thing with college level Englishes and things like that. All right. Like I said, I will work with everything and anything that the kids want, right, for their future degree. All right. I tell kids all the time, be flexible. Okay. Just because we sit there and if a kid wants to take a lot of classes at RCSJ, I'll sit there and plan their RCSJ schedule and hope Power School spits it out the way we need it. We'll have to go back in there and start fixing things over the summertime to make it all work. Okay. Like I said, it's a mess sometimes, but we make it work. Sometimes kids get what they want, sometimes they don't, right? It's just whatever we can do. Some kids have priority over other kids. If a student doesn't drive and they have to be on campus all day long, we have to fill their schedule. Okay. Another question just came out. When will their schedules be available? The juniors will be first. So typically it's been the end of July, beginning of August is when their schedules become available. It's when we can see them. Okay. It has a lot to do with us getting them in there, the classes being built, teachers being assigned, and all that other stuff. All right. So like I said, flexibility. I was in the Air Force, so flexibility was the key to air power. But flexibility is the key to just getting along with everything else that we can get working. All right. RCSJ registrations. Question was about RCSJ classes. No, we can literally start registering for RCSJ classes starting in 3 weeks. So March 23rd is when we can start registering for both summer and fall classes. All right, I'll be making that announcements later on. The other thing was, how do we know if it's a conflict? We kind of know when the GCIT classes will be, right? So I kind of, just from doing this for 10 years, we kind of know, and they don't want to mess with the schedule too much at GCIT, right? So we kind of know when things will be. But if you start looking at a 4th year of a language and a different math class and all the stuff, we have to be flexible, right? A lot of the RCSJ classes are online. So if a kid wants to take RCSJ classes online, it makes it a little bit easier. But we don't really know officially until the end of July, beginning of August, if there's going to be an overlap. Okay. This out thinking that March 17th was when the classes were going to be available to registration. I just got the word they're not open until the 23rd. They are viewable right now, meaning I can see everything. I can see fall, I can see summer, right? I've had a bunch of kids come in. I haven't made the announcement yet, but there's been emails flying all over the place that RCSA sent out. I was trying to hold off for another week just so that we can get our stuff together for course selection and things like that. But I can see them all. So I can put together some schedules, some sample schedules for the kids, and we can go off of that, and then we can start registering on the 23rd. Okay. I'll give the kids all the procedures that they need to do. Like that registration stuff just says, how does it work, right? The kids come in, I give them some sheets of paper discussing like all the classes, the costs, all that fun stuff. The biggest thing is everything works via email, right? The kids got to get used to looking at email, which they don't, right? They got to look at GCIT email. They got to look at RCSJ emails because when they go to college, everything's via email. So that's the way things have to work. I have to work via their GCIT email to make it legal for the college. Okay. So I'll send all that stuff to you guys. If this is their first classes that you guys could be paying for, I'll send you guys the login information. I also send a little PowerPoint. In that PowerPoint, I break down how to reset your password. It goes through everything on that student portal that you guys would need. Okay. The biggest thing, and I tell kids this all the time, I tell families this, reach out immediately. If something happens, reach out. Right? I have kids that wait 3 weeks before they reach out, and then it's too late for a lot of it. All right? Reach out. Right? I work at GCIT during the day. I do some coaching, but I also log hours at RCSJ. So I still help with all the high school kids through RCSJ with our kids. So I'm always somewhere on the clock. Emails, Teams messages, whatever, right? I'll try to answer them back as soon as I possibly can. If it's not that night, it'll be the next day. So the biggest thing with RCSJ registrations is this. As soon as I make the announcements to the kids, literally starting next week, they can all come down to see me. All right. The biggest things we haven't talked to the counselors yet, right? The counselors haven't come out and started talking to the kids yet. So if a student has not taken a college level class, has not applied to RCSJ, those are the kids that I have to meet because I have to send out applications, right? The application process is online now, so it's hard to track. So I got to get their applications over to the college. That way, when I have to register them, everything's set to go. All right. And that's where me having the personal relationship with the kids comes in. They come down and see me, and then I get everything set up for them. All right. Let's see. RCSJ important information. If a student, this could have been from freshman year to now, if we are taking a college level class, that college level class could be through GCIT or it could be through RCSJ. They're still able to use any services that RCSJ puts out. The library, tutoring, clubs, computer labs, they can go to the cafeteria, right? Any weekly activities that the college puts out, the kids are able to do. Okay. If a kid has a gap in their schedule, we don't have study halls at GCIT, right? So if a kid has a gap in their schedule, let's say they there's no study halls, a lot of kids get on that shuttle and go over to the college campus, right? And they go in the library and they start studying. Yes, all the links will be emailed. Yes. I actually had my first year doing this. We didn't know we were allowed to participate in all of this back before COVID. We actually had kids that were in the student government. So they were, I was like, kid came back and said he's vice president of the class. I said, what class? He said, it's RCSJ. I'm like, oh, very nice. So that's where we figure out. The only thing they can't do is sports. Okay. They can take care of anything else that they're over there. Students just come down with me, right? They just set up a message on Teams. They all come down, all that stuff. How does the shuttle work? Yes. Shuttle works all day. We kind of put a schedule out knowing that when our periods start and different things like that, but she runs all day long, right? If she needs me or if I need her, I just give her a message and she comes over. But it just continuously runs back and forth between GCIT and RCSJ and the other building. Okay. Talked about that. So a lot of kids go, am I going to be in a college setting with other college kids? If you're in an in-person class, you sure are, right? They're never going to know you're a high school kid. They look just like any other college kid that's there. Okay. The only time they're going to know it is if they announce it, right? There's no power school. So the big issue is these kids are protected by FERPA, even though they're high school kids. So we have a lot of parents trying to reach out and hey, how's my kid doing? Professors get a little irritated just because it has to come through the kid, right? It has to come through their RCSJ email, all that other fun stuff. I get the argument. We paid for their classes. The kids are under 18. Listen, I put up the fight. I've won some and lost some. The good thing is every one of these kids that signed off to FERPA to allow me to reach out, right? So if anything ever happens or whatever, and the college sort of blocks you, there's forms that we can get signed that they release to you. If it's an immediate thing, reach out to me, right? I can reach out to the professor. I can reach out to my contacts next door. Like I said, I've been there for 13, 14 years. So I know 90% of the teachers. I know all the deans. I know the president, right? So we have very good relationship with all of these people. Another big thing is the calendars are different. A high school calendar versus a college calendar, totally different. Like in the fall, right? We're going to have right around the teachers in service, right? Where we have in November, we have that big 3 or 4 days off. The college does not. So there's different vacations, different days off that we have that they don't have. This in the spring, they have spring break different from when we have spring break. So when we have our Easter break, they don't. So our breaks are a little bit different. So it's up to the kids to reach out to the teachers if they cannot make it to class. Yes, semester length are different, right? RCSJ is a normal college semester, September to December, end of January to beginning of May, right? So our semesters are different. So it's something that we work with every year, and our teachers at GCIT understand it. Our kids, our principals, everybody understands it. I send messages out throughout the year. hey, make sure you're talking to your teachers at RCSJ. You guys are off for the next 4 days. If you can't make it to class, you can't make it to class. But make sure those teachers understand that. Okay. Another big thing, and this has been something that we have been doing for a little bit now. Once I register a student for an RCSJ class, they owe a bill, no matter what, unless we reach out and we physically drop that class or withdraw and drop that class before the semester starts. All right. I have a lot of kids and parents say, hey, I registered for a class, but I didn't take it or I didn't pay for it. As soon as I register you for a class, you owe a bill. Right. There's different pay dates and different things like that that I send you guys later on. But just realize this is not high school. You just don't go, hey, I didn't want to take the class, so I didn't show up. I didn't take the class. This is college. You register for a class, you owe a bill for that class, either online or if it's in person. This is college. This is college. This is college. This is college. And the kids have to understand that it's not high school. Okay. So those grades stay on that college transcript forever, right? It's always with them. Okay. And that's something that we have to get out to the kids and get out to the families that they understand that. All right. Most important information. This is the student's senior year. All right. I always tell kids they want to jam pack their schedules, right? They want a full schedule in the fall, full schedule in the spring. All right. We want them to enjoy their senior year, however they do it. All right. We have I'm just going to answer this question real quick. GCIT pays. The question was, they were confused about what classes GCIT pays for. GCIT pays for any college level class that is on Power School that's taught by a GCIT teacher. All right. So any class that you guys talk with your counselors and you select during course selection, they are GCIT classes. They are free of charge. From what the kids have taken since sophomore year till now, if it was built into their schedule at GCIT, they are free of charge. That's what GCIT pays for. Right? If you come to me and say, hey, Mr. Burns, I want to take a class, a psychology class or a sociology class, which is not part of my high school education. It's outside of GCIT. They are the classes that the parents are responsible for. All right. Yes, do these classes transfer? Yes, they're still college level classes. Okay. They're called dual credit, right? We talked about they're on 2 different transcripts. So they are college level classes. All right. The issue with you're going to see like a lot of your kids, if they went back to, let's say, Kingsway, Delsey, anywhere, they have AP classes there versus dual credit classes. The difference between an AP class and a dual credit class, a dual credit class is you're in a college level class. Whatever grade you get is the grade you get on your transcripts. That's a dual credit class. You're just taking a college level class taught by a GCIT teacher. AP. An AP class means you take a class. At the end, you pay for the test and you pass a national test, right? And then you get those credits if you pass the test with a certain grade level, right? And then you transfer those classes into your college. So you'll see a lot of different things out there versus dual credit versus AP courses. That's the difference. Okay. Let me see. Yes, we did college level history, right, for this year. That's a dual credit class that was free of charge. It's on your RCSJ transcript. So when you send your final transcripts over to whatever college these kids want to attend, they're going to look at it as a college level history class and transfer it in either as a humanities or a history class at that next college. Okay. The biggest thing you guys got to talk to your upcoming seniors about is this. It's a stressful time, not just for you guys as parents, but for the kids, right? During the fall, if a kid's in, let's call it drama, they have their drama show. They're applying to colleges. They're writing their senior essays. You guys are doing financial aid. So there's a lot of stuff in that first semester that goes outside of normal high school classes. So loading classes on, is it worth it? It's up to you guys, up to your student, right? How much extra time do they have outside of school to study, right? Are they playing sports? Do they have the drama? Are they out working? So, right. So there's a lot of different things that are going on. In that spring semester, guess what? These kids get senioritis pretty quick. Right. And I yell at them every semester when they will load 6 classes into their spring semester. And then March comes and they're like, Mr. Burns, I can't handle this. I can't focus. I can't, I'm doing all this other stuff. And I don't. And I try to tell them, right. Yes, yes, we're doing high school stuff. Senioritis is a real thing, right. They'll start losing focus, and they'll start thinking, planning ahead already. So we have to be very careful because these grades matter. Okay. And it seems like there's not a lot to do that second semester, but when they get all these decisions in the mail and they start stressing, where am I going? What am I doing? You know, the prom's coming up, senior trips are coming up, all their friends are doing this. They got, they're going to Delsey for their prom. A lot of things happen from March all the way through June. Okay. Parents always ask, well, if they're taking RCSJ classes that second semester, where it goes from January to May, what do they do from May on? Nothing. They've already completed their schedule, right? The good thing about GCIT and the seniors, they are literally done probably by Memorial Day anyway, because all their senior activities kick off in May, at the end of May. The prom, going on their senior trip, practice for graduation, all of that stuff. So as a senior, a lot of their stuff's done in May anyway. Okay. So per the state, as long as they've taken their 2 classes or 4 whatever it is per semester, we are good to go. All right. We used to, prior to COVID, we used to actually have a whole floor for GCIT only. We had a lounge, we had everything. COVID hit and we lost all that stuff. So I am back and forth, right? I'm available back and forth. There's so many contacts over at RCSJ that I can reach out to if I need it, but the kids reach out to me. This is what I tell kids. If you're in a class over at that college, you are in a college setting, meaning you get in trouble over there. It's not a principal, it's the cops, right? So we've had kids get in trouble and they got the cops calling them. And, at that point we are, GCIT is just secondary at that point. Parents always ask about nursing and stuff. If they are outside the AMS or GCIT number 2, where we have all that stuff still there. But if they're actually on RCSJ campus, let's just say taking Calc 2 in a classroom setting, there's no nurses, right? That is literally the ambulance is coming to get them. So things that we have to let parents know, let the kids know, let everybody know that if you're on that college setting, you're in a college setting. Okay. The next one's just a map where you can see different buildings and different things. RCSJ is a kind of a smaller campus, right? If you look down here on the left-hand side where I have it circled, that's the AMAS building, right? That's where we're at. Yes, I do have it recorded. I'm going to post it. I'll email everybody letting you know where I'm going to have this thing posted. I'll probably post it to the GCIT page. I'll probably post it to the Facebook page. I don't know. I'll see where I'm going to post it. All right. But as you can see, there's where the campus is. That's where the shuttle's at. All the little buildings are right there. I give kids their schedule. I always tell the kids to walk it. If they have classes starting in the fall, walk it, right? Go there in the summertime. Walk around, right? Start looking at all the buildings and seeing where you're going to be. To begin with, but when there's parking lots are full, there's 1,500 kids walking around campus, it gets a little crazy those first couple days. Okay. So I will make sure that I have a lot of stuff presented to you guys tonight. Like I said, I will post this. There's more and more information once we start talking to the kids next week or the week after that we'll send home to you guys about course selection. Internships. I just had somebody ask about internships. At the college, it's very difficult as a high school kid. Okay. They are allowed to take any college level class that they are qualified to take, meaning have they met the prerequisite, have they met the test scores, things like that. So anything that they want to do, right? If it's following a track, awesome. If it's exploring different degrees, awesome. Either way, right? I'd rather them explore now where it's $225 versus going, to some private school where they're paying $22,000 a semester and they're exploring and decide, nope, this isn't it. Okay. Job placement. So internships versus job placement versus different things like that, right? Internships. The college does have internships, but to be able to go to an internship at the college, they have to meet certain GPA, certain amount of credits, and they have to be 18. So by the time a lot of these kids reach that, they're outside of that window to go get an internship with the college. Job placement, right? Through the school to work. We have school to work office at GCIT, right? If they are qualified to go out to school to work, somebody just asked because they were in AMAS, right? The biggest thing about job or school to work is they have to get placed into a job that matches what they're at GCIT for. Culinary, go work at ShopRite in the bakery section, right? So that college is that, or working at Chick-fil-A, anything like that. That fits that culinary / baking world, right? A lot of the kids that are in auto, they're out working for mechanics and stuff right now. If they are out doing, let's call it welding, they're out in a welding shop from 7 to 4 every day, right? The trick about a lot of this stuff is where can the kids be placed that they meet, right? I know they're working with the AMAS kids and the school to work to see if they can place them. There are jobs out there, but because of the type of work that the AMAS kids are doing right now, they have to be 18, which means they could take classes first semester and then go out to school to work second semester. Take classes first semester, turn 18, and then go. But that's more of a conversation with Mr. Haas, the teacher, and then the school to work office. They have more of those answers than I do, because I know they've been working with the AMAS teachers and the different places around. Mr. Haas referred to me. Great. The answers would be through the school to work department, right? It just depends on who they have partnerships with right now. If a student is working right now and they want to continue to work and not come to school, awesome. The good thing about the AMAS, they are adding more electives next door, so the kids might be at school the first semester, and then second semester go out to work. That's more of a conversation that if you guys want the information, the kids can reach out to the school to work office they're on the main campus right by guidance. They can go reach out to those guys. Okay, because they have the partnerships and they have the age groups for certain kids and certain places that they have to be. Just because of some of the machinery and the insurance, I know. Sorry, AMAS. That's the new advanced manufacturing program at GCIT. It's been in effect for 3 years. I apologize, and that's what that new building was built for. It was built for those kids. So there's a lot of labs in there, and then there's classrooms upstairs. So that's that AMA. When we talk about the AMAS building, that's that second building that's over on RCSJ's campus, and we use that for other classes. Okay, so there is the school to work option for the students, but they work directly with that office. And it's Mr. McCoy and Mr. Hubert. They are the two gentlemen that work in that office, and it's easier if the kids just walk in there. If they want to meet with talk to their advisors, talk to their counselors first, and the counselors will push them to that office if they have to. Okay. Let's see, the new direct admit. Hold on, let me pull up the full question. Let me see if I can pull it up. We were just as surprised as parents and students were with that new direct admit to Rowan. It was just sort of thrown at us. They had that presentation last week, right? Yes, you can still take RCSJ classes and still be part of that, right? Only because what it's going to do is, could it possibly advance you guys into a sophomore year instead of just being a freshman? What it can also do is, let's say your student only has 2 or 3 college level classes. Well, typical freshman year schedule in college is about 5 to 6 classes. If you can knock out some of those classes now while you're in high school, where you don't have to work as hard that freshman year and you can get used to life, right? Especially if you're like a commuter, if you're going to Rowan University where you got 6 classes, it's a lot driving back and forth and sitting there. If I can shorten that schedule by 1 or 2 classes my freshman year, awesome. That direct admit, it's going to be new to everybody, right? So yes, it's a great thing, but apply to those other schools too. Just see where we're at, right? That $4,000 that they gave you guys, that's just a preliminary number, right? I guess they should be posted. Excuse me. They should be posting that presentation to GCIT's webpage either today or tomorrow. This just in case you missed it, right? It's new, right? We didn't know about it. It all went through the superintendent's office and one of the presidents over at Rowan. So we're learning just as you guys are, but everybody's going to be admitted as long as they've shared some. There's a lot of different things that are going to be there, but don't take it with a grain of salt, because yes, you have direct admit, but that does not mean you're accepted into the engineering program, into pre-med, into nursing, right? So yes, you're getting into you're getting into the college, the university, but maybe not into the programs that your kids want to get into. All right. That $4,000 is just the base. The biggest one is you guys are going to reapply and get more money if you can, right? And it's all going to be merit type scholarships. If you know the major university, you can look at the course requirements and then cross. Yes. So if you know, like they said, there's different ways for us to look things. There's an NJ transfer page. There's different things we can knock out depending on where to go. A lot of the RCSJ degrees are the same as the Rowan degrees, right? I always tell kids we get so landlocked into South Jersey when we look at Rowan, Rutgers, Camden, Stockton. a lot of the programs are the same as RCSJ, right? There's a degree out there for anything. I tell the kids all the time, and I told the parents all the time that I went to Rutgers Camden to start. I started playing soccer back 30 some years ago, and my major changed 4 times my freshman year, right? I was going to be a physics major, a history major, a lawyer, economics major, and finally decided I was going to be a pilot. So ended up going to school. I have 2 degrees in flying. I was a pilot for 20 years, joined the Air Force, and then came back to, education world that I was starting off to begin with anyway. So kids always come in and say, they tell you the same thing. I want money. Money's awesome, but when you have 4 kids and they're all in the high school level and flying, 2 to 3 weeks out of the month, depending on if I was in the military or at FedEx, it was time to call it, even though I look at the salaries that I could be making right now versus what I'm doing, a little daunting, but, my life has been home with the kids and I've been able to do that and do this, still make a pretty good salary between this and RCSJ and get to see kids every day, right? And get to talk to kids and give them my experiences and get to be a part of my kids' lives every day. So there's a lot of that balance that we have to put on there. All right. I know it was a lot of information. Like I said, it's been recording. I'll figure out how to post it. I'll get it out there and I'll email you guys with where it's going to be posted. Make sure you guys are staying up on your email for when the counselor starts sending stuff out to you guys about course selection. Okay. There's a lot of stuff for seniors that'll come out over the summertime. Meaning there's stuff called a free elective sheet. Just because if your kid's not at GCIT all day, there's something that you guys have to sign off saying, I understand my kid's not at RCSJ all day. Okay. So it just says, yep, my kid's only got this many classes. They are free, right? They are not part of GCIT once they leave the building. So there's a lot of that different things, course scheduling, everything. So there'll be a lot of stuff over the summertime. When we get into next year, let's say a kid's taking all RCSJ classes and they're not even on our campus. They're still a GCIT student no matter what, right? They still partake. They still do clubs. They can still do anything they want, right? They just got to be up on things, stay up on teams, stay up on different, their emails so they can be get there and know what's coming up. We have a financial aid night that's typically in October, November, where they do a presentation and they talk about financial aid. Okay. Us counselors, even though I sent 2 of my 4 kids through college, I've done it. It's changed, right? We don't want to give you guys advice on the financial aid part of it, right? Just in case something gets messed up. I have contacts at RCSJ that if you guys really need the help, I'll get you guys set up, even though you might be going somewhere else. They can help you answer some questions for the FAFSA stuff. Scholarships. Juniors right now, can they be searching? Yeah, but guess what? These seniors that are current seniors are all applying for these scholarships now. So typically right around August timeframe is when applications open up for colleges. That's when scholarships open up for the next following year. So that's when all the stuff's going to be coming out. The counselors will have stuff on their teams page, on the GCIT guidance counseling page. We have stuff, and we'll just keep you guys updated every time we can. All right. So there's a lot of information between now and a year from now that might be daunting. Just reach out. Okay. If it's me, if it's your student's counselor, whoever. But like I said, yes, I am in charge of advanced manufacturing and digital media. I might be in charge of the new programs coming in. I don't know. But I'm the liaison for RCSJ, meaning I probably see about 900 kids a semester, different classes and questions and things like that. So I'm always answering emails, Teams messages, and I'm always there if I need a phone call. Okay. So thank you all very much. Like I said, message me, shoot me a Teams message, shoot me something on email, and I will answer you guys. It might take me a little bit, but I'll get back to you. And like I said, over the next couple of weeks, we will be looking at course selection, and this might, it might answer some more of your questions, but we'll go from there. All right, guys, have an amazing night. Oh, hold on, one more question. Let me see. Before I hang up, let me pull up my team so I can see the whole question. Dual enrollment classes that kids take at GCIT counts toward, yes. So any class that you take at GCIT counts towards your GPA. Now, I also have a lot of kids that worry about their class rank. Parents, worry about their class rank. Please. It's great. It's a great thing, but you can't compare your child's class rank at GCIT versus where their homeschool would have been. Okay? Kids get kids get so bent out of shape and stressed and everything about GPA. GPAs cannot be seen in Power School. You have to ask your counselor. I'll give it to you. If you shoot me a message, I'll send it to you. Okay. We tried to get it turned on, their GPA and their ranks in Power School. They just can't see it. We don't know why, but administration won't turn it on. Okay. GPA. I can control GPA as a student. I can control my grades. I can't control my GPA. I can't control my class rank. Okay. And sometimes we know at GCIT, it's not fair that if a kid is in construction, where they don't have a lot of the opportunities for college level classes that other kids do to compare those ranks. But I can compare GPAs. Okay. And that's what the colleges care about. The colleges care about those GPAs. So keep the grades up, do as best as they possibly can, and then make it a great junior year, right? This is the last year that these colleges see. So this is a very, very, very important semester for these kids. Stay on it. All right, guys. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.